This video is to summarize the outcome of the last two ones, where we discussed the second phase of the waste management evolution. I think the best way to provide this video is to follow the same structure as per the first conclusive one. If you remember, we discussed back then the fact that the first waste management evolution witnessed the coexistence of several driving forces. We also said back then that the economic driving force was the strongest, and it prevailed. The participants were creating the supply and value chains based on their mutual benefits. I'm sure you recall that we said the legal force came second, but the legal force kicked in late, and it came to fulfill three functions. The first one was to secure share in the revenue stream for the government entities or the local authorities. The second was to ensure waste is removed from the street, regardless the end destination. And, of course, the last one was to tackle real health threat in the form of diseases or epidemics. Okay, what about the second phase? In my opinion, the second phase witnessed the existence of one primary driving force, which is the legal force. I can hear you saying that this might be not logic, because we talked about other driving forces. We talked about the technological driving force. We talked about aerobic, anaerobic, recycling, incineration, etc. We also talked about economic force. We discussed in details the security of the revenue stream in the polluter pays principle, landfill gate fee, landfill tax, the formation of the waste management tariffs, and I hear you. But the thing that you are missing is that in the first phase, the driving forces worked independently. They were not depending one on another. But it was not the case in the second phase. Your economic tool wouldn't exist if not compliant with the directive. Your technology would never have the right to exist if it would not comply with the directive, etc., etc., etc. So, second phase is only one primary driving force, which is the legal force in the form of directives, and other forces which are derived from one primary driving force. If we agree on that, let's look at this driving force by itself. The first thing we note is the structure of this driving force, and we can see that the directives perform in two ways. One way is drawing the framework and the general guidelines. Another way is to set very specific objectives, KPIs, numerical expression of the deliverable, deadlines, etc. Well, whenever the directive talks about non-critical deliverable, it goes in generic terms and recommendations. You can see this when, for example, we talk about the waste disposal, safe disposal. Directive never went deeper to tell the member state how to design the landfill, how to use the material, what type of material is used in the construction of the landfill. When the directive says the polluter should pay, it never went in more details. Each member state finds its own way to ensure that the government does not finance waste management. But when it comes to the core deliverable, which is the prevention, the recycling, the reuse, it goes in full details. You will find exactly how much biodegradable waste you are allowed to send to landfill by this or that date. You will find exactly how much recyclables you need to reclaim from the waste stream by this or that date. When it comes to the operating parameters of the incinerator, you will find exactly what are the critical parameters that you are not allowed to exceed. Now, the second thing that we may notice about the legal force or the directives is their tendency to gradually raise the bar. At the same time, gradually narrowing the available alternative options for the member states. We start with one target, then we change it towards a higher target, etc., etc. And I think this means only one thing. It means that the European leadership was visionary enough to understand that setting very high target for those new countries that joined the European Union or those who were less fortunate than the leading countries will only lead to creating a chaos. So they started with one target and they started raising the bar, injecting support, legislative, financial, organizational in these countries. And if you look now, you will see almost similar behavior and similar tendency across the board in all the European countries. I think this concludes my thoughts on the second evolutionary phase, but I don't want to stop here, and I want to end this video by saying that, in my opinion, the second evolutionary phase started to fade away somewhere in the beginning of the 20s. And we started to see the third phase shaping out and building momentum. I do not have enough information that would worth making videos explaining the data, the theory, and the practices. Unfortunately, not yet. I am sure in the recent future I will be able to develop some kind of an opinion, but there are things that I am sure about right now. The first thing is about the driving forces, and I am sure that the structure of the driving forces is changing again. And there is a new driving force that is emerging and capturing the momentum, getting the momentum very fast, which is the political driving force. I am not sure whether this driving force will behave as one primary driving force or it will coexist with the legal, economic force and others. The other thing that I have noticed is the fact that the transformation during the third phase will be much faster than anything we have seen during the second phase. And this is because of two things. The first thing is, again, the political will of the leadership. And the second thing is the digital transformation. So we will be seeing 100 miles made in seconds, comparing to the very slow movement that we have been making during the second phase. And I hope, again, very soon to be able to talk to you about that. And for now, I will continue with you talking about the circular economy, which is very important for us here in MENA region. And we will talk about an interesting topic later on, which is the two-phase transformation in the economics of waste management. Thank you.